As a reminder to clubs and players, an offensive player numbered 50 through 79 or 90 through 99 is permitted to line up as an eligible pass receiver. To allow the defense an opportunity to match personnel to avoid deception and to ensure fairness, the player must immediately report the change in his eligibility status to the referee, who will inform the defensive team and will make an announcement to the stadium before that play. It is the responsibility of the player to be sure that change in status is clearly communicated to the referee by both a physical signal with his hands up and down in front of his chest and to report to the referee his intention to report as an eligible receiver. Any player reporting as eligible must line up initially and remain in an eligible position. Failure to do so, or if he is covered up by another player, will result in an illegal formation. Should the reporting player elect to remain in the game for an additional play, he must repeat the same reporting process to the referee, and before each additional play, the referee will inform the defensive team. This process has been in place for many years and is intended to provide proper notification to the defense when players are lined up in positions that their number would not allow.
You know what's pretty damn sad? The fact that the NFL had to send out an entire memo to all the teams in the league because of the irresponsibility and negligence of ESPN and FS1. Just rock with me. You're gonna understand where I'm going with this. ESPN and FS1, ever since the conclusion of the Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys game, has been beating the drum of injustice on behalf of the Detroit Lions, talking about how they were cheated. The Cowboys were lucky. The Lions were supposed to win that game. The referees messed this up for the Lions. No accountability fell on the shoulders of the Detroit Lions. The entire NFL media world was in a frenzy. Why? Because it happened against the Dallas Cowboys. That's why. Because you see, this actually happened in the Cowboys versus the Eagles the first time on 1st and goal, with the Cowboys trailing 28-17 with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Chuma Edoga was called for an illegal formation that wiped out a Tony Pollard touchdown. The kicker, Dak Prescott, confirmed with the official before the snap that Edoga checked in as an eligible receiver. Now, here's the thing. This particular play didn't decide a game, and even though the play was wiped away, Dak Prescott was able to come back and throw a touchdown to Jalen Tolbert on the next play. So the Cowboys really truly didn't miss out on much here, but this was another example of the referees completely getting this call wrong, or some controversy being around this call. But I didn't see this get talked about pretty much at all in this game or after this game was over with. I never saw anybody bring up the fact that Dak Prescott even said himself that, hey, we confirmed with the official that he was going to be checking in as an eligible receiver. I thought I would receive the go-ahead, but I guess not. Now, people are all in the uproar. People are in a frenzy. They're upset. They're raged. They're pissed off. Because, again, it's happening against the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone loves to hate on the Dallas Cowboys. And the sad part about the hate that the Cowboys are getting is now the NFL is even having to intervene. This is where my point about ESPN and FS1 comes into play. The NFL had to send out that memo. You know why they had to send out that memo? Why they didn't have to send out that memo last time this happened, when the Cowboys had this little snafu against the Eagles? You know why they never have to send out this memo? Because the media never makes as big of a firestorm as they did on behalf of the Detroit Lions, to the point to where the NFL has to actually correct or course correct what the media is pushing to the general public, because a large portion of the general public truly firmly believes that this wasn't the Lions' fault, that this was not the Lions' issue, that number 70 never actually reported in, where you can very clearly see on that video number 70 pointing at his chest, rubbing his number, which is essentially the signal that you give to the ref to communicate, hey, yeah, okay, I got you, I'm eligible receiver. You can clearly see that on the video. And even then, the NFL even went a step further to explain even more why this shouldn't even be as big of a point of discussion as it actually is, because they then pointed out it was an illegal formation anyways. You can't argue with the people that actually make the rules in the league, guys. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, you have to take your L. This is when you look at your head coach and say, Coach, after we got the penalty, why not just kick the extra point? You don't trust that your team can go down and win? You were that afraid of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys? Of course he was. He didn't think that they could go down that field and win in overtime. He didn't think that they would be able to stop the Cowboys offense from going down the field and winning in overtime. He was scared. He was scared of Rain Dakota. And now all of you guys in Detroit and all of the sports media like Dan Orlovsky and all these other people who are beating the drum on behalf of the Detroit Lions look like fools, because now your preferences and your biases are really starting to affect the way you're doing your job, so much so to the point to where the NFL had to come and clear up the confusion on you guys' behalf. See, this is what the media was supposed to be doing. The media was supposed to be educating the general public to the point to where everybody was like, oh, okay, the Lions really did screw that up. They really didn't follow proper reporting procedures. They really did still have an illegal formation. They really shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, because a tripping penalty that was called on Hendershot should have been called on dirty tackling ass Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson is a dirty player, bro. I just seen a video today. Terrence Steele legitimately saved Dak Prescott's ankle from getting snapped in half on a hip drop tackle by Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson, you're a scum. And I hope that if we play the Detroit Lions again, someone puts you in the damn dirt, bro. You are a dirty player. There's no reason for you to have to tackle the way that you're tackling. That's not a natural tackling motion. To dive on someone like a lion and then fall back on your back after you have them in your arms is not a natural fucking tackling motion. That's damn near like a horse collar tackle, just you have the person wrapped up instead of you grabbing the inside of their shoulder pads. That's essentially what he did to Dak Prescott on that play that almost got him injured. Aiden Hutchinson is a dirty ass player, but if they had called the correct penalty on said dirty ass player, we would have never been in that situation anyways. And everyone wants to gloss over that, but you know who isn't glossing over that? Future Hall of Fame quarterback and one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, a lot of these times there's certain plays that would negate this whole thing, right? So 2nd and 14, they throw the ball incompletion, right? So let's talk about the 40 seconds could have been lost. But I didn't want to focus on that. I want to focus on 1st and 10 after the interception. I believe there's a 5 or 6 yard carry by Pollard, and they call it tripping when it was Hutchinson who reached his foot out to try and trip the back. They called the tripping on Dallas. Have you guys seen this?
Yep.
So first of all, I don't think it should have been a trip because he didn't get him down. Now, there are trips that happen and have happened. I mean, TJ Watt got a sack on me a few years ago when he totally tripped me in a call, right?
No, cheater. That was a tackle with his leg.
Yeah, exactly. But trips happen, I think, a lot more than you think. And that was an attempted trip, but because they threw the flag, it should have been on Hutchinson. That half a distance to the goal, that's a first down. There's 40 more seconds or a timeout. I don't think the situation would have even been close had they just made this correct call. So this is, on the 29-yard line. Pollard runs, okay, so he gets 6 to the, maybe 7 to the 22. We're going to add 15 to that. So now it's first and 10 on the 11, right? They call this penalty on the on 89 there.
Blatant.
I don't understand how they do that. It's a total whiff.
It's funny, man. I find myself conflicted. I know Aaron Rodgers says a lot of polarizing stuff, but he's truly been an ally of the star lately. This is the second time he's come out and essentially defended the Cowboys or spoken on the Cowboys' behalf. He spoke glowingly about Dak Prescott, and now he's actually educating all the uninformed pundits and uninformed fans out there as to why Detroit screwed that up themselves. They have no one to blame but themselves. The Cowboys need more credit for holding them out of the end zone 3 times for a 2-point conversion to win the game, for 1. And 2, Dan Campbell needs more criticism because he was playing Madden the entire game. But either way, it's sad that the NFL has to correct ESPN and FS1 because these guys are so caught on trying to be TMZ and looking for the most clickbait drama headlines that they're not even properly informing their viewers of what they're actually seeing now. So now the leagues themselves have to take that into their own hands and make that happen. See, now we're starting to get into a very, very gray area, because once we get to the point to where the leagues can't even trust the media to properly convey information, we have a serious problem. It's not just us as viewers that are now distrusting the major networks. Even the leagues themselves know, hey, we're going to have to step in because these guys are doing nothing but contributing to the shitstorm that's building around this entire narrative. Now people are talking about the league being rigged and all this other stuff because it happened to the Dallas Cowboys, bro. And that's all this comes down to, because we haven't heard anybody else talk about the officiating all season long. We haven't heard anybody talk about how the officials haven't thrown a single freaking holding penalty in favor of Michael Parsons in like 40 plus, almost 50 quarters now this season. We haven't talked about how dreadful the officials have been all season, throwing phantom flags, picking up flags, just doing weird stuff. But now, because it happened to the Cowboys and something finally fell in the Cowboys' favor, now everyone wants to talk about the referees being on the Cowboys' side. Now everyone wants to talk about how lucky the Cowboys are. You know what? The Cowboys aren't lucky. You guys are just extremely uninformed. Either way, y'all know always in these videos, I'm sorry that the National Football League had to step in because ESPN and FS1 wasn't properly doing their jobs, because they're allowing these biased analysts to get on TV and peddle whatever narratives that they want to peddle themselves to make their narratives look better, or their own storylines that they want to build look better, or to prop up teams and players that they may have some favoritism towards, Dan Orlovsky. Either way, y'all know always in these videos how them Cowboys. I see you guys on the next one.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.